When women are mentioned in stories about evil, it's most likely that they are victims. But do you know that there are evil women that have done inhumane things? It is easy to go far back to people like the biblical Queen Jezebel, but many centuries after her, there are still many women keeping up with the legacy of infamy. Did you know that only one woman in Africa was responsible for the death of 10,000 people and another of 2,000 people? In this video, we'll tell you about these women and other evil African women. Keep up and tell us who you think is the worst on the list or who we should have added. First Africa's evil woman on our list is Credonia Mwerinde. Nicknamed the Priestess of Death, Credonia is one of the most evil women ever recorded in Africa. She was responsible for the death of over 700 of her followers. Some reports even claim that she saw the death of over 2,000 people. This may seem like the end of her evil ways, but there is still more to her story. Credonia was a Ugandan who started as a bar owner and a prostitute until she joined the Roman Catholic Church, where she claimed that Mary, the mother of Jesus, appeared to her. Her story gets even more interesting as she soon started her own movement known as the Movement of the Restoration of the 10 Commandments of God Church, which is now tagged as a cult. Under her leadership, members were made to sell their properties and submit the proceeds to the church. She subjected them to poverty and living in silence. Members were only allowed to speak to her and other leaders of the church using signs or written messages. In 1999, Credonia, the Priestess of Death, revealed to her followers that the world was going to end. Hence, they needed to sell their property and bring forth all the proceeds. In March 2000, followers were locked in the church and set ablaze. It is recorded that about 500 to 700 people died in the inferno. At first, it was believed to be a mass suicide. However, several graves were found within her church and Credonia's home. Then, it was discovered that she had earlier killed many followers, mostly children, by poisoning them. Another source pointed out that she also killed her siblings in order to inherit their property, including the land where she built her church. The cult leader fled the town and has never been caught to face justice. If you think Credonia was evil, wait until you meet the second woman on the list, the infamous Ranavalona I of Madagascar. Her extreme ways led to her being nicknamed the Mad Queen of Madagascar. She was responsible for the death of over 10,000 people, including her stepson, who was also the heir of Madagascar, and his mother. These are the shocking details of this woman. She was brutal in her punishment, especially to those who were not loyal to her throne. Among Ranavalona's punishments were giving chicken skin to her victims and then following it up with a knot of a plant to make them throw everything up. The Mad Queen of Madagascar killed many Westerners and hung their heads on spikes in order to warn others in her land. She died peacefully in 1961 in her sleep. At her burial, gunpowder was accidentally ignited, which led to the killing of many. In spite of her evil ways, the world still remembers her as a woman who fought slavery in Madagascar. She also promoted cultures and traditions in the kingdom. The next one that will shock you is none other than Cleopatra. Yes, the same Cleopatra, the Queen of Egypt. You may have heard of Cleopatra's beauty, intelligence, and charisma, but have you heard of her being an evil queen? You can sit back, relax, and enjoy the story of how the last Egyptian queen was so evil. Cleopatra, a product of incest, is nicknamed Serpent of the Nile or Evil Tempress of the Nile because of her deeds. She was responsible for the death of her younger brother, Ptolemy XIV. This was so that her son would be her co-ruler. Also, the Egyptian queen made her lover, Mark Antony, lead the killing of her sister, Asino IV, who was in exile. She died of suicide in 30 BC. Something different from others is the next woman on our list, serial killer Nomia Rosemary Ndlovu. If you think you have seen all about the evil women in Africa's history, I bet you have not heard of the story of Rosemary, a South African serial killer who was also a police officer. She killed 6 people, including her relatives and her spouse. Rosemary also attempted to kill her mother and burn her sister with her 5 children to death. Why did she kill all these people? Money was her major driving force. Rosemary earned 1.4 million rands from life and funeral insurance after the death of her victims. She committed her crimes from 2012 to 2018. Her killing spree ended when she was caught planning to burn her sister and her children to death. She was sentenced to 6 concurrent life terms. Final on this list is sibling serial killers Raya and Sakina. These Egyptians are the most notorious female serial killers. The 2 women were sisters who killed more than 17 women from 1919 to 1920 in the Laban neighborhood of Alexandria, Egypt. To further make their story surprising, they committed the crimes with their husbands and with the help of 2 women. The women were owners of a brothel, and they mostly got their victims from there. They would then lure the women, kill them, and retrieve their jewelry, clothes, money, and other possessions. Raya and Sakina were arrested and tried for the murders. They were sentenced to death alongside their husbands in 1921. The evil sisters became the first in modern Egypt to be executed. Their story has inspired many films. Who do you think is the worst on this list? And do you think we left anyone out? Let us know in the comments section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment.